doing?
Good morning everyone and welcome to the Saturday Swap It Out Challenge. The loss of day sleep means that I've not been able to pre-record these without guests. Here's my second guest now. So we're going to give this a shot and see how we go. So today what I want to talk about, I realised that I talked for a month about beauty swap it outs, but what I want to talk about is some of the swap outs that you can do in the kitchen. So I've got a few products to show you. So instead of using Glad wrap, you always think it's a good idea to wear braids in your hair until the next day when you look like an 80s leftover child. You can probably leave that in my hair, darling. Maybe this was not a bad idea. Oh, that's a bit gentle.
I read a book.
Read a book. Okay, we'll read a book in a minute. So the first thing I want to talk about is instead of using Glad wrap, what can you use? So the most basic swap that we have made has been to just simply use containers that we already have. I think it can be really overwhelming when you consider the amount of products that are out there. And so one of the easiest things you can do is just use what you already have. So we no longer put food on a plate and wrap it in Glad wrap over the top. We simply just use our standard plastic containers. We've got heaps of them from collecting them over the years, and we put our food in those now. I know that is probably not a very good idea being plastic, but until we can replace them all with glass, that is a much better option than using Glad wrap. We do have some glass containers that we've got, they're just not the right size. The second one is for cans. So for example, maybe you were only going to use... Just come here, darling. Just come here. I'll show you what we're going to do with it. Can you see in the camera? So we've got a tin of beans. Maybe you only just want to use half. This is what you use to cover them up. So these are called Foodhuggers, and I just got these from Howard's Food Storage. And basically, you just pop these on top of the tin instead of using Glad wrap. Now the beauty of these is that the children absolutely love them and they fight over them all the time, so it's wonderful. The other thing you can use these Foodhuggers for is if you have cut up half an onion, although who uses half an onion, I don't really know. Onion, do you want to smell it? And he's holding on possessively to the Foodhuggers. Can I just have one to show Mummy? Can I have one, please? You can have it back. This one might be the wrong size, but basically you can cover up half your onion or your tomato or your apple, and you can avoid using Glad wrap, or simply just put in another container in the fridge. Like, it doesn't have to be rocket science. The other thing that we've started using, thanks to my mother-in-law buying me some, are some beeswax cloth wraps. So she got these from the hospital. They're making them and donating all the profits to the hospital. And these they don't seal like Glad wrap does. They don't create that nice seal around the edge, but with a few clever folds, and you just hold it around the edge of the container to warm it up a little bit, it sits and seals the containers fine, and we haven't had any issues in replacing our Glad wrap with them. And then the last little thing that I want to talk about is, some of you might have seen this in my stories the other day when my hubby went to Harvey Bay and bought me back one of these from the market. So this is from a brand called Earth Wrapping, and this is a fantastic alternative to using a Ziploc bag. It is just a reusable bag. It's got sort of like a plasticky liner. And I've used it for my sandwiches. We took some chippies with us when we went somewhere, and then you can just wash it out and dry it. So this is a fantastic alternative. So get rid of the Glad wrap. As my dad found out yesterday when he used Glad wrap to wrap up like this much of a carrot, and he got a bit of a talking to then. Get rid of the Glad wrap. Consider using these fairly good alternatives. So hold this up. Foodhuggers. Simply use your plastic containers. Use some beeswax wraps. You can make your own, or there's some amazing companies out there making them. Glass is better. Or earth wrapping bags or something similar. So that's it for today's episode. I would love to know what you're using instead of Glad wrap. I better go. Okay, I'll stop now. Do you want to open? You're going to eat some black beans?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've got a busy morning ahead of us.
My water.
Eating a tin of black beans.
My